someone, people will also defend them. So there's nothing like not all men. When we talk about the men who perpetuate violence, we're also talking about the men who sit back and watch and say nothing and do nothing because you are part of the problem, right? So when we leave this place, that is something to reflect on. I'm not here to prescribe anything. I'm sharing what life has me tied around her wrapper or whatever the statements they use are. It is real, yeah. Or she's used juju on him. That's the more popular one because women are always at fault, right? Can we hear from more men? Do we want to hear from more men? You're a married man. Okay. Yes, let's hear from you.
The thing that I'm guilty of is when we were growing up, we used to go for fural. That is off camera. And when we go, you know, you will go with a friend and perhaps elder than you, but they will say, go and call Hale Chepe Bini, Ndo Bini. So Ndobi means someone that you are elder than. You know, so, and then we would have to go and say, Ndo, we will follow. Even though they are 3 times elder than you, but you still call them Ndo. And you're still guilty of this. SJ, you're looking at me. So we still call them, and these are some of the things that we accept because of how we deal with gender. So we accept this as normal. And one more thing, when we were growing up as well, some of our elders used to tell us, when you're going to school early in the morning, when you just open the door, main gate, and you see a lady, you have to go back inside. Because that might be a sign of bad luck. And I'm sure a lot of people know what I'm talking about. But these are all things that you accept until you grow up and you learn, and like she said, unlearn, you realize that these are just fallacies. These are not things that are facts. Because you have a mom who gave birth to you, and every day you would wake up to see your mom and get breast milk. So if you didn't have bad luck from then, you wouldn't have bad luck by going out to school and breaching a woman. So thank you very much once again, Jama. Now we have the keynote address from His Excellency, the U.S. Ambassador to the Gambia. But before then, just a quick announcement. They are taking pictures, and this will be used on their social media. So if you're not comfortable with your pictures online, you can kindly request, and then it would not be there. But I doubt anyone would be in that category, because I am not. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for the U.S. Ambassador to the Gambia.
Thank you. It's a real privilege to be here today. Some of you know my wife, Jane Ellen, and she expresses her regret that she could not be here today. She's back in the States right now. She's going to be coming back with her cousin and his wife to visit the Gambia. Many of you know that my wife is a retired Army colonel and was what we call an Army judge advocate or an Army lawyer for her career, 24 and a half years in the United States Army. Her final assignment before she retired was as the first woman to be the chief of international law for the U.S. Army. I married a very strong, powerful, capable woman who hates to cook and hates to clean. And she made that clear when we were dating, and we still got married. So, but I want to talk about Women's History Month, and I want to talk about International Women's Day and why it is it's so important that we celebrate this, women and men. And I feel a little bit awkward being a man standing up here after 2 fantastic speeches and a fantastic conversation that really make you think. And like I said, this whole idea of a man being a feminist, and I understand why it's uncomfortable for me to think that way. Why? Because I am in a position of power. I do benefit from privilege by the fact that I am a man and I happen to be white. And that provides me tremendous privilege just by virtue of how I was born. It is important for me to recognize that and to work every single day in leveling that field among all human beings, because I feel genuinely that we are all put on this earth to help each other as people. But this is an important day because it's time we learn from history, not keep it in a book or on a website or on a Facebook page, but we really learn from it. We apply to the future the knowledge, the statistics, the proven facts, the proven track record of the contributions of women to prosperity and to peace, to cultural and societal advances in defending and advancing fundamental freedoms for people all around the world. Here in the Gambia, at the United States Embassy, we are committed to women's empowerment, to gaining equality of opportunity and access to our female family members, friends, and colleagues because of that important point. And we fund great programs like Prospect for Girls because of what you do to try to empower other women around you. And I applaud you for stepping up and stepping forward and doing that every single day. But why is this a cornerstone of our engagement? It's very simple. Because of that history that tells us that women's contributions to business, to government, to rule of law have been crucial. That's why. It's important that we ensure that we repeat that as often as we can, as often as we have to make sure that people hear it, that they see it, that they feel it, they live it, and they learn and they unlearn. Did you know that according to United Nations statistics, when women participate directly in peace negotiations, that it increases the sustainability of that peace? It's true. This is a statistic. It's a fact. It can't be denied. The basis for this is that in 82 peace agreements and 42 armed conflicts between 1989 and 2011, peace agreements with women signatories are associated with a more durable, lasting peace. The same study also found that peace agreements signed by women show a higher number of agreement provisions aimed at political reform and a higher implementation of those provisions. So what about me? Why is it that I'm standing up here? I happen to be the ambassador. You may not know that my team, many of you do, many of you know Kat and some of the other phenomenal people on my team at the embassy who happen to be women. And I say happen to be women because what's most important is they are accomplished professionals in their field, and they are women. They are not accomplished professionals in their field simply because they are women. In almost 29 years for me as a United States diplomat with service from Saudi Arabia to Germany, to Washington, D.C., to here on the Smiling Coast and elsewhere in Africa, I have worked for and with more women than men. It's true. We're a little further along in our journey. My mother raised me. My mother, who finished high school in the early 1960s, raised me to know how to cook and clean, do laundry, and care for myself. Why, she said? Because it was only fair. But more importantly, the United States was changing. It was going to be hard to find a woman who was going to want to do all that for me anymore. And that was important. I was really grateful that she gave me those life skills. My sister was not raised to take care of me and cook for me. Nope. She's my older sister. She would have beaten me mercilessly if I had asked her to. But again, I've worked for and with more women than men in my career in the United States Department of State. Many of those women went on to ambassadorships. In fact, two of my female colleagues that I shared an office with about 13 years ago are also ambassadors in Africa. We very proudly took pictures of our badges at a recent Chiefs of Mission and Global Ambassadors Conference back in Washington and sent them to our former boss at the time, who also happened to be a woman. I was definitely and distinctly in the minority on that staff. But hey, they didn't crown Ben out. I'm standing here. I made it to where I am. No, they took their rightful place in some of the most senior positions in U.S. diplomatic service. Why? Because they do their jobs exceptionally well and capably, and I'm really proud to serve alongside them as their colleague and to be able to call them friends. But like I said, just about every position in the U.S. Embassy here is held by a woman. My Deputy Chief of Mission, woman. Public Diplomacy Chief, Kat Edwards, woman. Political Economic Chief, woman. The Marine Corps Security Detachment Head, Commander, woman. Our Peace Corps Country Director and her entire leadership team, female. Everyone. Our Consular Officer, woman. Our Defense Attaché based up in Dakar, Gwen Carter, Colonel Gwen Carter, U.S. Army, woman. You get the picture, right? These are all fantastically talented Americans who work every single day to advance the interests of my country and to do it in partnership with people from the Gambia. That's what we do. Sometimes I say that to prove the point about the importance of women's equality, all we really need to do is show up. And that's important. And sometimes it really just takes showing up. I want to speak for a moment to the men who are listening to me. I know you're out there. I know you probably wouldn't be here if you didn't believe that this is an important topic and important for you to become part of that solution to this problem. Our focus this month on women's equality, women's history, women's contributions is not, and I want to emphasize is not, to marginalize men. That's not what we're trying to do. because we actually need strong and capable men too. Because it takes a strong, capable, and confident man to stand up, step forward, stand shoulder to shoulder with their female family members, friends, or even that stranger on the street, and to say, no, it's time for change. We need equal access, we need equal opportunity, we need equal rights, and we need to treat people with dignity and respect, regardless of gender. And I know it is absolutely true that it's important for women to stand together and to band together and to be strong together, because only women really know what it's like to be a woman and how challenging it is. I just want to say that I think it's important, equally important, that men step up and step forward and stand shoulder to shoulder with you. Because you noted this, you said this, until men start changing the system that we are advantaged by, it's going to be a lot harder to change. It will go much faster when men buy into the imperative of women's equality. So to the many men here, I would just say that some of your, probably not you, but other men around the world reinforce that system out of fear. That's exactly what it is oftentimes, fear that somehow they're going to lose their jobs, they're going to lose their place in society, they're going to lose their place in the home. And I just would say I don't think that's true. I think a society is stronger, a society is more productive, a society is more capable when everybody is given the opportunity to advance that society, regardless of things, of their gender. I have to tell you, there's one fundamental truth I've learned in 29 years of doing this, and I'm getting close to the end of my career, and I know there are a lot younger officers like Kat and others who will carry this forward and will make even more positive change in the future. But if there's one fundamental thing I've learned after almost 3 decades of service, and now I'm 51 years old, getting to be an old man, to all of you an old man, I got it. But success has a lot more to do with access to opportunity than it does with gender. Success has a lot more to do with access to opportunity than it does with the color of your skin or the ethnicity, the language you grew up in the home speaking. Success has a lot more to do with opportunity than it does with gender orientation, gender identity, or any other of those different human characteristics that make the human race what it is. It's opportunity. It's opportunity that provides people the chance to prove themselves, to advance, and to contribute. And if you don't even open that door, then you really have no idea what people are capable of and the great things that they can do. So make sure that you are being part of that solution, that you're opening, you're holding that door open, no matter who you are. And you're not just holding it open and walk through if you want to. You start pushing people through. You need to start changing minds. You have to start challenging how we've been raised to believe certain things. And look, I come from the United States. I'm not coming here because we have solved this problem. In fact, there's a magazine article that Kat wrote for the State Department magazine about the fact that we do have a very female-dominated mission. And you know what? My question is, when is that going to be normal? When is it going to not be unusual that we have so many women in positions of influence and leadership? Why is that remarkable? Well, it's remarkable because it's different, but when will it not be different? When will it just be that we go, yeah, it's normal. It's time that it become normal. In my country as well as yours. So here in the Gambia, I admire the growing role of women in the economy, government, professionals, lawyers, doctors, engineers. And that's a fantastic thing because so many young women see that, and they see those people who have forged that out of a very much more difficult environment. And the more you'll build momentum, you'll get going faster and bigger and stronger, and it will be insurmountable given time. The future is brighter than it was, but to keep it growing brighter, your country needs you, all of you, women and men alike, to continue to press for positive change, to continue pressing for equality. So as we honor and celebrate the many incredible women who have made a difference around the world, the many shining examples not just for women, but also for men to emulate, I want each of you to believe in your heart, to the very core of who you are, that you individually can make a difference. I want to thank all of you Gambian women here today who are making a difference every single day for the next generation. Because every new generation, that is the future. And you're setting that example for people who are strong and who are capable and who will not sit down and sit back and step back and wait to be invited forward. You're clamoring forward every single day. So I honor you, I thank you, and I deeply appreciate the opportunity to speak. Had my wife been here, I probably would have asked her to speak. She has a lot more inspiring personal stories than I do for this particular day. But again, why do we have International Women's Day? Because it's still unusual, and we have to aim for the day when it's not unusual. So thank you very much for letting me offer you some of my thoughts. I would be happy to take any questions you have if you want, but I can understand if you're more interested in the refreshments outside.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador. Can we please put our hands together once more for the Ambassador? I think one of the things that stood out in his speech is that success is more to do with opportunities rather than the gender that one belongs to. And I think that is very important. The other bit is that this is still a journey, and even a country like the United States cannot say it has attained full gender equality. It's still a journey, and I think we are also in that process. From the 1920s, when women cannot even vote, to where we are now, being ambassadors, being entrepreneurs, people like Kuje are, entrepreneurs that are coming on board and trying to make a difference. Jama Jack, we are having a lot of them. I'm seeing a lot of medical students. I'm seeing doctors. I'm seeing experts from the UN. I'm seeing activists. Right behind, I'm seeing Mariama Bari, who is also a Mandela Fellow, who is trying to work so hard to culminate in efforts to make sure that there is a women network in the police force. And I think they inaugurated that just recently. Mariama, you're welcome to this program. And I think that is very important to have women that are working so hard in all the different areas to make sure that things are going as they should. We are coming to the summit of this program with a closing remark from Kujeka, 2017 Mandela Fellow, entrepreneur, Tony Emelu Fellow. I also Googled that, you didn't tell me, so I'm very smart. And she's the founder and coordinator of Prospect for Girls. Welcome, Kuja.
Thank you, Musa. That was a fantastic job. But before I move on, I'd like to ask if anybody has a question for the ambassador. Anyone has questions? The ambassador, Catherine. It's nice to have you all, to have you here. And Jama Jack, really appreciate you coming here today. And to every one of you, thank you guys so much for coming. See, when I first watched that video, that was about many years ago, actually. And I was inspired by her, just like you were. Chimamanda Adichie is a Nigerian, and I was born and raised in Nigeria. So with most of the things she was saying, I could resonate. It was like she was just telling a story that I knew about. When I watched the video again for the second time, and I was here actually in Gambia, and I said to myself, I think we should do something about this. And the first person that came to mind was Jama, because I could see from a social post on Twitter that she followed her, and also she reads about her and she shares some of her stories. See, when we talk about women empowerment, or when we talk about gender equality, it's not just about the women, it's about us, both gender, male, female. We talk about the society. Who makes the society? Shouldn't that be the question we ask? Who makes the society is both male and female. Anyway, I'm not here to give a speech because it's already done by the ambassador and Jama. I'm just here to give the vote of thanks. I would like to appreciate everyone for coming. And I hope that the younger generation, like Jama said, got some lesson here today from the video and from the conversation. I hope that we're all living here today, both male and female, understanding that we play a key role in equality. And we should not just take a backseat, we need to take action. We need to make an effort. We need to do something. Let's not see things and say, oh, it's none of my business. It is everybody's business. Equality, gender equality, women empowerment, it's everybody's business, male or female, regardless of your age, regardless of your gender. We need to take a step, we need to do something, which was why I was very curious about asking that young man, I didn't get his name, when he said, oh, people come into the house and ask me, oh, okay, so what do you do about it? We need to take action. I remember sometimes when I come home, everybody asks me, oh, Kuje, you need to fix dinner. But when the bulb is out, they're like, no, don't touch that, wait for your brother to come. Oh, I can change the bulb. I know how to do that. So thank you guys all for coming. Really appreciate your coming here. We hope that by living here today, you get a message, you understand things, and you pledge to actually take an action. And I would like to wish you all happy International Women's Day. And just like last year, during our International Women's Day celebration, we opened a call for application for the first cycle of vocational skills training for young women. And I am also happy to see that some of the participants are here. One of the girls, Aminata Yajo, benefited from the photography training, and here she is today, actually contributing by taking pictures. And I hope you're going to edit those pictures, yes? Yeah, okay. So, because you learned some editing skills as well. And so I am excited to announce that this year, Each for Equal is the theme for International Women's Day, and our focus is on people living with disability. Mostly when you look at our society, they are left out. People living with disability are left out. You go to offices, you go to locations, and there are no access for them to get in. People don't talk about them. People neglect them. And it's time for us to actually make a change, not only with women, but also with people living with disability. So for this second cycle of the vocational skills training for women, which we are opening today, you could get access to the form online on our website on www.pfg.com. We would upload that later today, and you can access it. And if you have anybody, if you know anyone living with disability that you feel can benefit from the program, please, please, please encourage them to apply. It is only for persons living with disability. So thank you guys again for coming today, and I hope that you guys enjoy as much as I did. I enjoyed it so much, the conversation, the video. Thank you, and then it's time for refreshment.